Have you ever wondered what our virtual worlds would look like if we merge the best of technology and imagination? Well, today, we're diving into 10 ultra-realistic games that are pushing our consoles and PCs to their limits. So stay, we're getting started. Before starting, consider supporting us by giving a like and subscribing to the channel. If you see something interesting or have other titles to suggest, let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We start the list with a game with ultra-realistic graphics that gives us a glimpse of what could happen if technological advances and artificial intelligence get out of hand. A theme that might bring back memories of the movie I, Robot. The intense gameplay you are watching right now is from Atomic Heart, developed by Monfish, an action and shooting game set in a dystopian version of 1955, shortly after World War II, where the Soviet Union has made such impressive technological advances that it is now common to see robots walking the streets of the city. But they soon turn against their creators, giving rise to deadly machines and terrifying-looking mutant creatures. In Atomic Heart, you play as an agent tasked with investigating a facility overrun by killer robots in order to find out what caused their system to fail. There are areas that are completely linear, and others that give you more freedom of exploration. In other words, you can roam around a semi-open world that comes to life with outstanding visual quality, passing through underground laboratories, abandoned cities, and nightmarish scenarios designed with great attention to detail. The only way to traverse each of these places is by annihilating biomechanical creatures with a set of melee weapons, firearms, and combat skills obtained from the Electroglove. Atomic Heart is a true visual spectacle and is perfectly optimized, although the story might get boring at times due to its lengthy dialogue. Available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. A horror classic that returned in early 2023 with a next-gen remake that left us surprised by its amazing visual fidelity. I'm talking about Dead Space Remake, the new version of the 2008 horror game developed by the Motive Studio that arrived with a tremendous fully rebuilt visual section and great visual effects, along with an impeccable sound design that completely changed the gaming experience, making it feel much more chilling and immersive. The necromorphs came to life like never before, with a truly terrifying appearance and a dismemberment system that made it clear to us that we were facing one of the most outstanding remakes of recent years. The most interesting thing is that Motive managed to maintain the essence of the original game from start to finish and complement it with new details in its gameplay that, broadly speaking, seemed interesting to me. Each of the scenarios was rebuilt, and a huge amount of good quality narrative elements were added, such as bloodstains, texts, dirt, and dismembered bodies. Dynamic lighting, ambient sounds, and volumetric fog all played a huge role in creating a tension-filled atmosphere that makes you feel vulnerable at all times. Walking around the USG Ishimura has never been so terrifying. Motive did a great job with Dead Space Remake, available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, Game Pass, and PC. The endless plagues of rats have once again flooded our screens in the sequel to the successful game created by Asobo Studio, continuing the heartbreaking story of two young people struggling to survive in a dark and merciless world. I'm talking about A Plague Tale Requiem, the second installment of the action-adventure game in which we once again accompany Hugo and Misha on a journey through the south of France, in the hope of starting a life away from cruelty and finding a cure for Hugo's illness. But this will only be the beginning of a nightmare that will once again put their lives in danger. Being a direct sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence, it is necessary to play it to fully understand the story and above all to begin to familiarize yourself with its game mechanics, taking into account that exploration, stealth, and puzzle solving are some of the characteristics that define the gameplay of these titles. A Plague Tale Requiem is a true next-gen experience that not only stands out for its intense narrative full of unexpected twists and deep character development, but also for its photorealistic settings that capture the darkness and beauty of the Middle Ages. There is no doubt that this installment once again showed us the potential of Asobo Studio's graphics engine, so if you like action-packed adventures with stunning graphics, this game is made for you. A Plague Tale Requiem is available on Xbox Series X, S, PC, and PlayStation 5. we continue with a survival horror that impressed us with its next-generation graphics and an excellent setting that held our attention from start to finish. This is how realistic the Callisto Protocol is, developed by Striking Distance Studios. A third-person survival horror game in which you take control of Jacob Lee, a prisoner trapped in a maximum security prison where an unknown outbreak transformed humans into unspeakable horrors that lurk in the shadows. As you progress, you will discover the dark secrets of the facility and the truth behind the horrible experiments that have been carried out. The Callisto Protocol is not a game that you will remember for its incredible story or for being a survival horror with its own identity. We all know that it is very similar to Dead Space, although this makes sense since it was created by Glenn Schofield, one of the minds behind the iconic Saga. However, there is one detail that we cannot ignore: its tremendous graphics. The quality of the environment is absurdly realistic. The facial expressions and textures on the models are some of the best I've seen lately. Jacob Lee is literally a digital double of actor George Duhamel. It's absolutely insane. Every environment in the Callisto Protocol is designed to maximize immersion. In fact, the game is much better optimized today. So if you're one of the people who decided not to finish it because of its poor performance, I recommend reinstalling it. Available on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, S, Game Pass, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC. We continue with a shooter that found a way to capture the brutality of World War I with stunning realism, to the point that many consider it the best title in one of the most recognized franchises in the genre. Battlefield 1 is a first-person action shooter that offers an unparalleled immersive experience. Its short campaigns transport you to various war scenarios. In addition, its online multiplayer mode allows you to participate in epic team battles of up to 64 players, through a variety of historical environments created with amazing visual fidelity. During the games, you can use 4 different classes of soldier, such as Assault, Medic, Support, and Scout, to play an important role in the team. As you progress, you will unlock new equipment and a wide arsenal of weapons that you can even customize with cool skins. You can also use a wide variety of authentic vehicles from the period that add depth to the gameplay. The graphics and visuals in this shooter are exaggeratedly realistic, but what's most surprising is its sound design. Every sound you hear in Battlefield 1 is simply masterful. Everything that happens on screen is epic, from the explosions, the gunshots, the mortars, or the planes passing over you. There are no more words to say. This shooter is a marvel, and just talking about it makes me want to play it again. The bad news is that as time goes by, it is increasingly difficult to find games full of players. Battlefield 1 is available on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. If you're looking for an epic adventure that will take your breath away with its wonderful graphics, you're obliged to play the second installment of an acclaimed guerrilla game that stands out for having one of the most beautiful open worlds in recent years. What you're seeing right now is Horizon Forbidden West, an open-world action-adventure game with role-playing elements that once again puts us in the shoes of Aloy to enter the Forbidden West, a majestic frontier that hides new challenges, tribes, secrets, and giant machines that will test her skills as a hunter. Exploration is key in this installment, as it has a vast world that invites us to explore a wide variety of lush landscapes with a new set of mechanics and tools that allow us to move more fluidly through the environments, whether climbing huge mountains or diving through sunken cities. The open world of Horizon Forbidden West immerses you in landscapes so dazzling that you may forget you're in the middle of a mission. You can also take part in a variety of side activities and explore new, previously inaccessible areas to uncover interesting rewards. Combat, meanwhile, is highly dynamic and strategic, allowing you to use a variety of weapons and tools that you can craft from resources you find around the map to overcome challenging encounters against the deadly machines. If you don't have a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, don't worry. Horizon Forbidden West is also now available on PC, and the best thing is that it's perfectly optimized. Believe me, this is one of the best ports I've seen lately. You can also find it in the PS Plus catalog. And speaking of immersive horror games, third place goes to one of the best releases of 2023 that allowed us to experience the tremendous evolution of Remedy Entertainment's Northlight graphics engine, offering a visual experience that completely blew our minds. This is Alan Wake 2, a next-generation horror and survival game that takes us back to the cruel and terrifying town of Bright Falls, where Alan Wake, a writer trapped in an eternal nightmare, writes a sinister story that ends up intersecting with the life of an FBI agent who is in the middle of a case related to a series of murders. In this way, the realities of Alan and Saga Anderson intertwine, and as they advance in the investigation, they begin to experience a series of supernatural events that slowly immerse them in a dark journey that will test their sanity. In Alan Wake 2, you can explore two alternate worlds that are both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The realism of the environments is brutal and helps create a deep atmosphere that manages to convey all kinds of emotions, as well as including visual effects that make you feel the madness, fear, and despair that both protagonists suffer. What caught my attention the most is how Alan Wake went from being an action game to an impressive psychological horror and survival game. The evolution in its gameplay is amazing, and the narrative left us speechless. Alan Wake 2 is a masterpiece that deserves all the credit. Remedy Entertainment achieved its goal, taking the genre to a new level. If you are interested in playing it, it is available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. The physical copy will be available for purchase starting October 22nd. We had to wait almost 12 years to enjoy a zombie game that many believed would never see the light of day due to the problems they had during its development. But thanks to Dan Booster Studios and Deep Silver, we had the opportunity to visit Los Angeles to smash the heads of the undead. I had never felt so much satisfaction from tearing apart a zombie in multiple possible ways as in Dead Island 2, and even more so when you have at your disposal a huge amount of melee weapons and lethal accessories. As such, we are not talking about a sequel that justifies so many years of waiting or that stands out for having an excellent narrative. But somehow it is an action game with RPG elements that fulfills the main goal of entertaining players. The story takes place in the chaotic city of Los Angeles, a place made up of multiple semi-open areas and environments so realistic that they will make you feel as if you were really there. The quality of the interiors is phenomenal, and the details that you can find in each of its settings are brutal. This was one of the reasons why Dan Booster Studios decided that Dead Island 2 would not be an open-world game. Another great detail of this zombie game is its advanced damage and dismemberment system. It is now possible to tear every muscle of the infected, break their bones, and explode their vital organs with incredible brutality. So if you are looking for a game to relieve stress, Dead Island 2 is the one for you. And the best thing is that you can play it in co-op with 2 more friends. Available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. You can also find it in the Game Pass catalog. So far, I have presented you with 9 games with exaggeratedly realistic worlds. However, I must tell you that nothing compares to what you are about to see. This game took realism to a level never seen before and is a clear demonstration of what awaits us in the future with the great evolution of the Unreal Engine 5 graphics engine. Senua Saga Hellblade II, the second installment of the next-generation cinematic action-adventure game with horror elements, is where we once again follow Senua on a survival journey through Viking Iceland to face the darkness that storms her. In this heartbreaking story, Senua, a Celtic warrior marked by the traumas of the past, offers us a completely new perspective on psychosis. Thanks to the visual effects, binaural sound design, motion capture, and advanced technology of its graphics engine, the experience becomes deeply immersive. The brutality, terror, and darkness of the Viking world of Hellblade II come to life in an impressive way, making it seem as if you are right there. If you stop at any point in the story and use the photo mode to observe the millions of micro details in the environments, your jaw will drop. Lighting also plays a fundamental role in this installment, especially during the confrontations against the horrors of Norse mythology. To achieve this result, Ninja Theory visited Iceland, took references, digitally recreated a map, made costumes, and recorded the action sequences in a motion capture studio that uses today's most advanced technology. This is how they created authentic digital doubles in landscapes with unprecedented quality. I dare say that Senua's Saga Hellblade II is, so far, the video game with the most realistic graphics in history. Available on Xbox Series X, S, PC, and Game Pass. If you want a second part, let me know in the comments of the video. Subscribe if you like the content. I leave you on screen with the next big releases of 2024. You can't miss it. Thanks for being here, brothers. See you next time.